On that cold October morning, I held the cup. The coffee cooled as my heart froze. 25 years by his side. 25 years of promises and lies. He was on the phone with his mother. His voice leaked through the bedroom door. He spoke softly, but I heard every word. "She won't suspect a thing, Mom." My body froze in the dark kitchen. The wooden floor creaked beneath my feet. Have you ever felt the world crumble like that? When everything you believed in turns to dust. I had known that man for decades. We shared a table, a bed, dreams, and prayers. But something was wrong in that freezing dawn. He walked into the kitchen smiling at me. "Good morning, my love," he said, kissing my forehead. He smelled of expensive cologne he hadn't used. His eyes shone with a strange joy. Something was about to happen. I could feel it. "Shall we choose the restaurant for our anniversary?" He'd never cared about parties before. I'd always been the one to organize everything myself. Now he wanted to do something special, grand. Why so much interest all of a sudden? His phone lit up on the table. A quick message lit up the black screen. S. Kamis was written on the reminder. Who was S? Why such secrecy? My chest tightened with an old ache. "Who's S in your contacts, honey?" I asked as I watered the plants by the window. I saw his left eye twitch slightly like that. He always did that when he lied to me. "Oh, it's Sanchez, a colleague from Seattle." Another lie coming out of that mouth I loved. For 25 years, I'd known every gesture, every pause, every tremor, every false word. Something much bigger was being plotted there. And I was at the center of this trap. What was he hiding beneath that smile? What cruel plan was being hatched in the shadows? Why did your mother always call late? What would they do to me at the birthday party? Would you stay until the end to find out? Subscribe to the channel to hear stories no one tells. Because the truth always wins, even when it hurts. That night I couldn't close my eyes. At 3 in the morning, I heard whispers again. My husband spoke softly in the dark hallway. My mother-in-law's voice answered from the other side. "We have to do this right, son." I got up slowly, trying not to make any noise. The old wooden floor creaked betrayingly. I pressed my cold ear against the door. She won't suspect until the last moment. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. 25 years of sharing the same bed. I knew his every breath in his sleep. I knew when he was nervous or when he was lying. Now he was plotting something with his mother. Something that involved secrets and my name. He returned to the room, trying to appear calm. He lay down next to me, his body tense. I pretended to sleep with my eyes closed. But inside, my soul was screaming. Have you ever pretended to sleep next to betrayal? In the morning, he woke up different, more affectionate. He brought coffee in bed like in the old days. "My love, let's plan our special party." His eyes shone with something I didn't recognize. Was it excitement or was it well-disguised guilt? His phone vibrated on the bright table. A notification lit up the screen for seconds. "I call S at 11. Who was this mysterious person named S? Why had he never mentioned that name? "Who's S, dear?" I asked casually. He pretended to water the plants by the window. I saw his eye twitch like that. The same tremor as when hiding something serious. "Oh, he's just a co-worker." A lie. I knew it was a complete lie. After 25 years together like this. His every gesture was an open book. But now there were pages torn out, hidden, burned. Have you ever seen a book half finished? I stood there staring at the gray sky outside. October always brought heavy air to our house. I remembered when we met in college. He was promising. I was brilliant in my studies. We married for true love, not convenience. We dreamed of children running around the big house. But the babies never came into our arms. The doctors found nothing wrong. The miracle simply didn't happen for us. Have you ever waited for something that never arrived? Over time, we accepted it being just the two of us. More time to travel, to grow in our careers. But something vital died between us during those years. My mother-in-law started making comments about absent grandchildren. Every holiday, she stuck that invisible knife in. Have you ever felt guilty about something impossible? Chapter 2. The mother-in-law's visit. There was a knock on the door right after lunch. It was her Celeste, my usual mother-in-law. She entered without waiting for an invitation, as was customary. "Honey, how are the party preparations going?" Her cold smile never reached her eyes. 25 years of being this woman's daughter-in-law. She never once called me daughter. She always maintained a measured, polite, icy distance. I was good enough, but never excellent. "Has anyone ever never accepted you?" "I'm preparing everything little by little, Celeste." I offered tea in the living room like a good hostess. She settled in, assessing each antique piece of furniture. Her gaze measured value, price, and importance, as if she were calculating a future inheritance. "Don't you think it's better to make a will, dear?" The question came out of nowhere like a sharp knife. "A will? But why?" I asked, confused. "Oh, just a precaution. We never know what tomorrow will bring." Her fingers drummed on the porcelain cup. "My nephews are good boys. They work. They study." She continued as if talking about the weather. "It will be good to make sure everything is documented." I felt a shiver run down my spine. Why was she talking about inheritance now? "And where do you keep the apartment papers?" she asked too casually to be innocent. "In the safe." "Why do you want to know?" "Oh, just the curiosity of a worried mother-in-law, dear." But her eyes told a different story. When she left expensive perfume in the air. I sat on the couch, gathering the loose ends. The late-night call, his strange behavior, now his mother-in-law asking about important documents. Something much bigger was happening in the shadows. I went to his computer that afternoon. I had never violated his privacy like this before. But my instincts screamed that I needed to know. The old password didn't work for the first time. In 25 years, he'd never changed it. I tried important dates, birthdays, old anniversaries. Nothing worked, each attempt increasing my fear. Then I tried our wedding date reversed. Clicked. The screen opened, showing everything inside. "Have you ever discovered secrets you'd rather not?" The search history made my blood run cold. How to get a divorce with shared assets. Marital rights in property division. Lawyer specializing in complicated marital separations. He'd been researching all of this for the past few weeks. My phone rang loudly, breaking the silence. It was my friend Candace, her voice worried. "I saw your husband at the jewelry store with a young woman. They were looking at engagement rings together, hugging each other. She was about 30, blonde, very pretty." I hung up slowly, trying to take another deep breath. 25 years shattered in seconds. He planned to leave me for someone younger. He was setting it all up with his lawyer and his mother. And I would be humiliated at our own party. Have you ever felt the ground disappear from under you? That night he returned with expensive flowers. Red roses and imported chocolates in a box. "Oh, for my one true love," he said, smiling. "The only one?" What a cruel joke coming out of that mouth. I accepted everything, pretending I didn't know anything. "We need to talk about our future, dear," I said, looking him straight in the eye. He tensed for a brief second. "Talk about what? It's okay, right?" "The party's next week. Let's enjoy it." "We'll talk after the party then," he interrupted. He turned on the television, pretending to be interested in her. After the party, of course, after the trap, after humiliating me in front of everyone, after forcing me to sign papers. But he didn't know one important thing. I'd been keeping my own secret for weeks. 3 weeks ago, a letter arrived from Germany. My Aunt Josephine had passed away alone there. She left everything to me, her only niece, an apartment in Munich worth a lot of money, another luxury condominium in Miami Beach, over $1 million in bank accounts, a total of over $3 million. Have you ever inherited freedom without knowing it? I didn't tell him anything about this inheritance. I wanted to surprise him on our special anniversary, to show him that we could travel, live much better. But now this money was my salvation. God really works in mysterious ways, doesn't he? The next day I visited a trusted lawyer, Mr. Perry had drawn up the apartment documents. Remember who bought our apartment first? Of course, it was a gift from your parents to you. Darren was added only after the marriage. My heart skipped a beat for the first time. So it's separate premarital property, right? Exactly. In a divorce, that changes everything completely. He would only be entitled to it if he could prove renovations. And he never spent a cent here. I asked for a document proving all of this in writing. Come back tomorrow afternoon. Everything will be ready. I left that office with new hope inside. For the first time in days, I breathed a sigh of relief. Have you ever felt that God hasn't abandoned you? At home, I found an envelope from Germany waiting. Final documents for Aunt Josephine's inheritance. Apartment, bills, everything confirmed in my name. Over $3 million in property and cash. I was rich and he had no idea. Have you ever had a secret that changed everything? Did you like the adaptation so far? Do you want me to continue with more chapters? Or would you prefer I adjust something in these first ones? Try again, Yekserit chapter 4. The plan unveils that morning. I woke to low voices again. He was in the hallway talking to his mother. Mom, everything is perfect for the big day. The restaurant is booked. The guests are all confirmed. After the toast, everything will happen quickly. I got up quietly and pressed my ear to the door. Are you sure she doesn't suspect anything? My mother-in-law's voice sounded anxious over the phone. She's naive, Mom. She's always trusted me. What if she doesn't want to sign the papers? She will after what I'll tell her. In front of everyone, she won't have a choice. Everyone will see who she really is. Hayes will be waiting with documents at home later. I felt nausea rising in my dry, tight throat. And Sierra already knows the whole plan. Of course, she's coming as my new assistant. I want you to meet my co-workers. I'll introduce her as part of the new life. You're cruel, son, his mother whispered softly. It's not cruelty, it's practicality, Mom. 25 years were enough for me. I deserve to be happy in life too. Even if it's at her expense, you understand. I went back to bed, but couldn't sleep anymore. Sierra, that was his lover's name. She'd be there at the party watching my humiliation. Then she'd take my place in this apartment I loved. That's what they thought would happen. But God had other plans for this story. In the morning, I went straight to the bank to open an account. I transferred half of the money from the joint savings account. If he wanted to spend it on a young lover, let him just spend his share now. Have you protected what was yours? Then I went to get the document from Mr. Perry. Here it is. The apartment has been yours forever. In a divorce, he has no rights whatsoever, unless he can prove he paid for renovations. And according to the records, he never invested anything. I put the precious paper back in my leather bag. I went to work as if nothing had changed. Mr. Boudreau, can I speak to you? I walked firmly into my boss's office. Of course. Is everything okay? You seem worried. I'll be going through a difficult personal phase soon. I wanted to let you know that my work won't be affected. Divorce? He asked, frowning seriously. I thought you two were so perfect together. That's why I'm telling you now, so it won't be a surprise. You're the best controller I've had in 15 years. No matter what happens, your job is safe. Thank you, sir. I needed to hear that today. I left there stronger than when I entered. Have you ever felt supported when you needed it most? That night I reviewed all the documents of the German inheritance. Apartment in Munich, condominium in Miami Beach. Over $1 million in European bank accounts. A total of $3 million in assets and cash. I had complete and total financial independence. The Miami apartment was empty, waiting. Aunt Josephine was renting it, but the lease was up. I could move there after the divorce. Start a new life under the Florida sun. Far from lies, betrayals, and false promises. I put everything in the safe with special care. Tomorrow would be the day of the big party. He thought he would deal the final blow to me. But he was the one who would be caught off guard. Truth always wins in the end, doesn't it? Have you ever turned a game around that seemed lost? Thursday dawned cold and gray in October. He woke up agitated, nervous, talking non-stop. Today is our big day, my love. He adjusted his tie in the mirror, his hands trembling. Your life will change completely today, you know. Our life, I corrected, looking at him in the mirror. No, your life, he repeated with a strange smile. You'll be surprised by everything today. I felt shivers run down my cold arms and legs, but I kept my face calm, serene, without showing it. Can I ask you a sincere question, dear? Of course, what do you want to know? Did you ever really love me? He froze, his tie suspended in his hand. What a strange question on such a special day. Just curious, please answer. Of course I did, and I still do. In my own way, like someone who keeps old furniture. I understand perfectly now, he said calmly. Have you ever heard a lie disguised as love? The day passed with him making nervous phone calls, checking the guest list over and over again, checking the details of the expensive, luxurious restaurant. That evening, he wore the most expensive suit in his closet. I wore a new, elegant dark blue dress. Are you ready for the truth to come out, Naomi? I grabbed my bag where I kept all my important documents. Yes, it's time for everyone to know the truth. We drove in silence to the Watergate Hotel downtown. 25 years ago, we were also silenced. But that silence was one of love and anticipation. Today, it was a heavy silence before the big battle. No matter what happens there today, I want you to know that I wish you the best. Thank you. I hope you get exactly what you deserve. The ballroom gleamed with 100 well-dressed guests. Round tables with white roses and golden candles. Crystal chandeliers reflected light everywhere. Everyone happily congratulated us on the silver anniversary. But a storm was about to break out there. In a corner, I saw a blonde woman in an expensive dress. About 30 years old, beautiful, but with empty eyes. She chatted with colleagues as if nothing had happened. It was Sierra, the lover who would take my place. Have you ever looked into the eyes of betrayal? My boss, Mr. Boudreau, came to congratulate the couple. Congratulations! I rarely see such strong couples. Thank you, sir. Today is a very special day. I even prepared a very important speech for everyone. My throat suddenly went dry at that moment. Mother-in-law Celeste walked around, receiving praise from everyone. Her eyes shone, knowing what was coming. In the corner sat a man in a dark suit. So Hayes, the lawyer, waiting to act. Everything was set up, planned, coldly calculated against me. Have you prepared for the moment of truth? May I have everyone's attention, please? The MC announced into the loud microphone. Darren would like to say a few special words. Silence fell heavily over the brightly lit room. Everyone turned, expecting a sweet, romantic toast. My husband stood, holding the microphone firmly. Friends, thank you for being here with us today. 25 years is no small feat. It's a quarter of a century with someone. Guests nodded, raising glasses of expensive champagne. I've thought a lot about our life together these past few days, about what united and separated us, and I realized something very important to me. People change with the passing of time. What seemed right turns out to be wrong later. The room grew quieter. People looked at each other. 25 years ago, I chose this woman, guided only by the foolish emotions of youth. But life has taught me to see clearly. I took a deep breath, preparing for what was to come. My dear friends, I want to be honest with you. For 25 years, I've endured a difficult life with a gray, boring woman who doesn't understand, a woman who doesn't know how to be a suitable partner. The room erupted in shocked murmurs of surprise. Darren, are you crazy? Someone shouted loudly. Quite the opposite. I'm finally thinking clearly. Our marriage is over. I'm filing for divorce now. Naomi should leave the apartment immediately afterward. It's time for a new life with relationships. He looked straight at Sierra, who was smiling victoriously. Mr. His mother, Celeste, was also smiling triumphantly there. Hayes was waiting in the corner with papers. Everything was as planned in their late-night conversations. But now it was my turn to speak. I stood up slowly and took the microphone from him. Thank you, dear, for finally being honest today. The room fell into absolute silence, waiting for tears. You know, friends, he's right about something. Enough lies between us. The truth is, I knew everything 3 weeks ago. I found out about the whole plan 3 weeks ago. I knew about Sierra, about lawyer Hayes over there, about the plans to take my apartment away from me. Mr. Hayes turned pale, trying to leave discreetly. But you made a small mistake, dear. I took a folder with documents inside from my bag. Our apartment isn't really shared. It was a gift from my parents before the wedding. I have a document from the real estate lawyer proving it. He took a step back, his face pale. And there's something else you don't know. 3 weeks ago, I inherited it from Aunt Josephine. Apartment in Munich, condo in Miami Beach. Over $1 million in cash in the accounts. Absolute silence filled the entire large room. Total of over $3 million in assets. So what division are you talking about? You get half the cabin and car. Everything else is mine. It's always been mine. Sierra, leaning against the wall, turned white as a sheet. And do you know how much your successful man spent? $45,000 on this humiliating party. From our joint money we've saved together over the years. Guests began to murmur indignantly at him there. But I'm not spiteful. You're free now. Take your wonderful woman, as you called her. Live wherever you want, but not in my apartment. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow morning. Hayes can go. I don't need him anymore. I turned to the guests with dignity and calm. Dear friends, I'm sorry to ruin your evening, but sometimes the truth is more important than... Thank you for coming. Now you know the truth. I placed the microphone on the table and walked toward the exit. Have you ever defended your dignity like that in your life? Behind me, chaos erupted inside the room. Darren, you're a complete scoundrel! A woman screamed, her voice filled with rage. How could you do this to your wife? 25 years and you do this? Sierra tried to leave discreetly through the back door, but a group of angry guests blocked her way. And you, shameless home wrecker? Did you think stealing a husband would be that easy? You have no dignity at all, girl. Celeste went from table to table trying to explain. But no one wanted to hear her excuses now. Everyone turned their backs on the embarrassed mother-in-law. Her perfect plan had become a public nightmare. Have you ever seen pride shattered like this? Outside, I breathed in the fresh night air. Freedom. The first time I'd felt it in weeks. Through the windows, I saw the disaster inside. He was pale, lost, confused in the center. The microphone fell to the floor. Guests shouted indignantly. Mr. Budrow, my boss, approached him angrily. Darren Price, I am deeply disappointed in you. We will have to review your position in the company. But sir, it's not what it seems. Isn't it? We all heard your cruel words. Marina, my colleague, also confronted him there. 25 years of putting up with colorless women. Have you no shame, man? Other colleagues joined the indignant chorus. His reputation was destroyed forever there. In a corner, Sierra was now clutching his sleeve in despair. Dee, what's happening to me here? You promised me an apartment, money, a new life. Where's everything you promised me these past months? Shh, not here. We'll talk later, he whispered. Why not here? She screamed hysterically. I waited 3 months for us to live like kings. You said after the divorce it would be easy. Guests began recording everything on their cell phones as well. The video would later go viral on social media. Do you want to know the whole truth about him? Sierra completely lost control right there in front of her. He promised me riches for 3 months. He bought jewelry with his wife's money. He promised me a huge apartment downtown. "Shut up, Sierra!" he yelled desperately and low. But it was already too late to stop. He took out loans using shared assets as collateral. He took $20,000 from Chase Bank for me. He also spent $15,000 from Wells Fargo. Even I didn't know that part of the story. Celeste ran to her son with a terrified expression. "What loans are these, son? What inheritance?" "I mortgaged my mansion to give you money." "How am I going to pay for everything now?" "I'm ruined," a guest interrupted in a loud, firm voice. "Do I understand correctly? Did the three of you plan to deceive her?" "No, it was four of you." Sierra spat venomously. "Lawyer Hayes was in on the scheme too. He was going to make her sign a waiver of the apartment." Everyone looked at the corner where Hayes was sitting. But the chair was empty. He had fled. "Cowardly snake!" Celeste screamed in uncontrolled rage. She lunged at Sierra, blaming her for everything. "You're the one who drove my son crazy." "Me?" Sierra retorted with loud and clear indignation. "It was your son who told me that she was such an easy fool to manipulate. Men had to fight to separate the two. What a public embarrassment for that traditional family." Slowly, guests began to leave the room. First my family, then my co-workers. Finally, acquaintances also quickly left. Each one made their opinion clear as they passed. "Darren Price, don't say you know me." "What a shame for your entire family now. You really are a complete piece of human garbage. You exposed your wife as a joke to everyone." Half an hour later, only the protagonists of the drama remained. Darren, Celeste, Sierra, and curious waiters watching. Have you ever seen a castle of lies fall? The courtroom was cold on that frigid January morning. I sat with my lawyer Aisha beside me. From the other side, he looked 10 years older. Gray hair, a tired face, a cheap, worn suit. Life had taken a heavy toll on him. The judge, an elderly woman with glasses, carefully reviewed the documents. "Very well. The court rules as follows. The apartment in Georgetown is separate premarital property. Mrs. Naomi's not subject to division." He paled as he listened to the sentence being read. "The cabin is the marital property, divided in half. The same goes for the Lexus car, also owned by both of them." His lawyer, a young public defender, just sighed in defeat. Furthermore, Mr. Price hid significant debts. $20,000 at Chase, $15,000 at Wells Fargo. Another $8,000 in a personal loan. Total of $43,000 in debt. "But these are his personal debts," the lawyer protested weakly. "The money was not used for the family's well-being. Then he will be solely responsible for the full payment. This court dissolves the marriage between Darren and Naomi. Defendant retains her apartment and all her bank accounts. Plaintiff retains half the value of the cabin and car. No alimony, no minor children." The gavel fell, ending 25 years together. Leaving the courtroom, I felt a strange peace in my chest, as if a huge weight had finally been lifted. "Naomi!" he shouted, running down the steps behind him. "Wait! I need to talk to you, please." I turned slowly, looking at the man who was my husband. "Forgive me, please. I was foolish and selfish. You didn't deserve what I did to you." I looked into his eyes, searching for true remorse. Was it real regret or just self-pity now? "Darren, I don't hold a grudge against you. We're different people. We always have been, actually. You wanted an easy life at the expense of others. I always fought for what was my right. Could we be friends sometimes?" he asked quietly. "No, it's best for us to each go our separate ways." I walked to my new Audi, which I had inherited. Life went on, and everyone got what they deserved. A month later, he lost his job at the big company. The video of the party went viral on social media. The CEO didn't want another public scandal like that. Finding a new job was practically impossible for him. Everyone recognized him from the viral video. The hashtag Silver Anniversary Traitor was trending. No one wanted to hire a man with a ruined reputation. He ended up working as a ride-hailing driver. He lived with his mother in a small apartment in the suburbs. Celeste had to sell her mansion to pay off all her debts. They bought something smaller, cheaper, far from the city center. "Son, don't you wish you'd listened to me? Never gotten involved with that damned Sierra. Too late for regrets now, dear mother." He counted the day's earnings as a driver. It was barely enough to pay off the loans he took out. His life had been turned upside down. Have you ever seen consequences catch up with someone like that? And Sierra, she did very well afterward. 2 months after the scandal, she married a wealthy businessman, a 50-year-old restaurant owner. Wealthy but not smart enough to realize it. He believed her story about a toxic relationship. He posted photos of the lavish wedding on social media. Expensive bouquets, gold jewelry, all ostentation. "I finally found true love. Hashtag Happy New Life." Darren saw the photos and smiled bitterly to himself. She got what she wanted, but not him. Have you ever seen divine justice happen like that? I lived a completely different life than all of them. I moved into my aunt's apartment in Miami Beach, a spacious, bright condominium with a view of the blue sea, a true oasis amidst the hustle and bustle of the city. I no longer wanted to be a controller of a large company. With inherited money, I opened my own small publishing house, specializing in translations of good European literature. It was my lifelong dream finally realized. "Naomi, we don't want you to leave like this, Mr. Woodrow tried to convince me to stay. Thank you, but I found what I'm passionate about. I'm going to dedicate myself to books and literature. I wish you good luck then. You deserve happiness. After all, many employees admire you. A woman really has to know how to stand up for herself." My publishing house employed 5 talented young people, brilliant translators who loved true literature. We published beautiful books in special small editions. For those who appreciate good quality reading, work that nourished my soul every day. One night, Aisha came to visit me at home. We drank tea on the balcony, watching the Miami lights. "You look so happy now, finally, my friend. Do you feel avenged for what he did?" "You know, I don't feel any revenge, Aisha. I feel deep relief and true inner peace." It wasn't revenge. I just stood up for my rights. The truth always wins in the end, even if it takes a while to arrive. Have you ever felt peace after a big storm? Do you regret those 25 years? No, they taught me something precious and valuable. To trust myself above all else. To value honesty above all else. Not to be a victim of life's circumstances. A year later, I received a letter from him in the mail. "Naomi, I don't know if you'll read this. I just want to say that I finally understand everything. You were the best thing that ever happened to me. I lost you because I was foolish and greedy. I don't ask for forgiveness because I know I don't deserve it. I just want you to know that you deserve the best. Be happy. That's all I wish for you." I read the letter and put it away in a deep drawer. No anger, no sadness, just past memories. That night, I went out onto the terrace with hot coffee. Miami sparkled with lights. Music played in the distance. The air smelled of summer flowers and freedom. I was free, independent, doing what I loved. For the first time in years, I felt truly happy. In another part of town, he drove an old Toyota, driving passengers, thinking about past mistakes. How you lose everything in one night. Truth always conquers lies in the end, even if it takes a while to arrive. Did you learn from this life story? Dear friends, this story taught me something profound. That dignity is priceless in this world. That honesty is worth more than any amount of money. That God always works in mysterious ways. And that truth always wins in the end. 25 years may seem like wasted time, but they weren't wasted. They were a lesson in life. I learned that trust is built with small gestures, that lies have short legs and fall, and that a strong woman isn't one who shouts. She's one who rises with complete dignity, one who defends what is her right, one who doesn't accept crumbs from anyone. one who trusts in God above all else. Are you this strong woman too? If this story touched your heart today, if you saw yourself in it at some point, if you felt you also deserve more in life, then leave your comment below and share it. Your story can inspire other women too. Subscribe to the channel because here you'll find stories that no one else has the courage to tell. Stories of overcoming, faith, dignity, and truth. Stories that show it's never too late to start over and be happy again. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Next week, I'll tell you about a woman who she discovered a family secret hidden for decades and how the truth freed her from the prison she didn't even know she was living inside. You are not alone in your struggles. Thousands of women go through this every day. But together we are stronger than any lie. Together we can always rise with dignity. Together we show that truth always wins. Thank you for staying here until the end, for listening to this story of overcoming, for being part of this community of strong women who never accept being diminished by anyone. Until the next story, with love and respect, leave your comment. Which city are you listening from? And if this story inspired you, share it with another. A woman who needs to hear that she is strong, that she deserves respect, dignity, and true love. Because every woman deserves to know this always.